India and other countries. Yeah. Moving on to next, considering my experience. So I was directly hired from my university to work at Rakuten. Uh, Rakuten is an e-commerce company based in Tokyo. Now they have presence in near about 25 countries. They have entered into various segments like banking. They're also into medical and everything. So I was the first non-Japanese employee over there. Secondly, I quit Rakuten as a global Salesforce manager after 6 years, and I launched my first product, which is news and media app of Arunachal Now. So Arunachal Now is actually an app for a state in India, which promotes plenty of like jobs and everything. It's a mountain and hilly area. That's why like the media connections and everything used to be very weak. That's why I started this with the reporters of Arunachal. Then I started my another company called Howloop. So basically, this is a business communication and an ed tech startup, which allows easier communication for the students and for the peers that are working together. Then, so Howloop and Arunachal Now are still operating. Then I shifted to one of the blockchain companies because I was interested into blockchain. So this was also an education-based startup, which is called as Opit Foundation. We had our ICO a couple of years back. This company has been sold. It was valued at $25 million when I left the company. After that, recently I have launched another education-based startup, which is called Little Master, and it's a kids learning app for 1 to 6 years old, and it is backed by AI and machine learning. And currently, I have moved to Tokyo to work as a program manager at Mercari. So over here also, like I'm allowed to work on my private projects, and the role is good. That's why I have joined this company. So now I'm responsible for company-wide initiatives and programs that are happening at Mercari. Moving ahead. So in 10 years, these are some of my areas of expertise. So I can do technical architect. I can also do product management and program management. I have also done consultancy services in tech field. I have done consultancy in Salesforce, ERP, and B2B projects that are scaled to millions of users. I have developed and consulted mobile applications. Then I can also take an idea and convert into a product. That is basically the basics of product management. And obviously like social media marketing and offline sales strategies to boost the product. And building websites that are scaled up to millions of users. And obviously I can give entrepreneurship guidance because of my education. And I have also helped some of the startups to raise funds. So moving on, like this is actually the main, and like, do you guys have any questions as of now?
I have a question. So it looks like you have very big technical skills. I mean, big numbers, different technical skills. So is engineer is a person who do something by your hand? I mean,
you mean like the coding part?
Yeah. What exactly is it? Is it about coding and programming, or is it another way?
So I used to code, like I can code even now. But the thing is like, if I start coding, then it's very difficult to like get things done pretty quickly. So I prefer to have my own team. So I have my own team back in India that does the coding work for me. I have another project manager who does the field work for me, and only the ideation part comes from me right now. So that's how I'm managing right now. But when time comes, when it is critical, definitely I enter and do the coding part as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it all depends on the need. And in startups, it's usually good to know coding and everything as well. Okay, so shall I move ahead? Anybody else having any question?
Yeah, so we have a question. How was your transaction from engineering to product management? So I believe you are going to present it. And another
Yes.
question, okay, I have an idea which involves extensive tech. I have less knowledge based on the implementation in the tech part. How should I go about it? I'm working on the MVP currently.
Okay, so basically the way I see it is like you are on the verge of creating your own product and you need technical support and you want to form a company of your own, uh, my first guidance point to you is simple. You need to have a co-founder who is technically sound. So please found somebody who is technically strong, who is a very good friend of yours. Clear the terms with him and move ahead with the project.
Very clear. So
Yeah.
I believe we can continue.
Okay. So moving ahead. So this is the journey of how I became a technical from an engineer to a product manager. So it happened in steps. So tech skills. So initially, in the initial 1.5 years, my approach considering technologies were jack of all and master of none approach, where I just wanted to learn more and more technologies. For example, web platforms, business to business platforms such as Salesforce, then Java, server management, Linux, analytics, and so on. This actually helped me to gain an overall picture of what's happening in the tech world, like how the products are made in the company. When you are in the university, things are pretty different. You don't follow the standards, you don't follow scalable models that are used in the company. So my focus for the initial 1.5 years was to learn how the company or how the tech companies build products. Moving on next, strength of an engineer. So after 1.5 years, I started contributing my learnings to the product. So what I did was to start contributing as an engineer to the product. At this point, after 1.5 years, you need to know like the tech stack of your product very well, and you can also analyze the product's behavior. So based on data, you know how the customers uses your product, and all this information goes from an engineer to the business side. You implement the analytics in your product, so it's good to be aware whatever things you're doing inside the product. And as I mentioned, it's like you feed the business team with relevant information. And also you should keep yourself updated with the general market, like what's happening in the market. Like there is no, I will never say that a product is unique in the market. There are always some competitors that are are competing for the market share. So you have to keep an eye on features that are implemented by your competitors, because in the future or in the near future, your product manager or your business people are going to ask you to implement similar features or something that is going to kill your competitor's feature. So this way, from the inside the product, you can know what data is being consumed and how the customers are using your product. And from outside, by general observation, you can know where the market shift is going on with the help of your competitor's strategy. Again, if you guys have any question, just please feel free to interrupt me and I'll be happy to answer them. So I'll move ahead. Analytical skills. So as I mentioned previously over here that whatever thing is happening, you need to have good observation skills. So you should observe what is necessary for the business to run. So for example, how the customers are using your product. What helps the key people to make decisions. So based on whatever data you are giving to the business people, what decisions are made by the business people matters a lot. And you need to know like what are the factors that are contributing to the decisions. Then what matters in the market to the customers, what do customers like or dislike. This all the information you can track down in analytics of your own product. And definitely like if it is sales oriented thing, then why the sales went up or how the sales are going up. And definitely plenty of products will have the campaigns and what are the effects of it. So you need to analyze all the information that is happening around you. So after 1.5 to 2 years, I focused on transitioning into a PM. But before that, I became a tech lead as the step one, where I was interacting directly with the business people. So from 1.5 to 3 years, I changed my focus from jack of all, but master of only one. So I focused on the skills that mattered to do effective business communication. And in my case, it was Salesforce and analytics. So just to give you an overview, Salesforce is a CRM technology that is used to interact with your customers. And that's where all the business people used to communicate with the customers. So I thought that, and Salesforce also has its own development platform. So I thought that being a Salesforce developer is going to help me a lot. So I focused on Salesforce and analytics part, and the other technologies such as PHP, Java, and etc. I just low prioritize them while assigning the task to myself. And I became a tech leader in 6 months and helped the business people to make decisions from a technical point of view. And I also observed the business growth with respect to the decisions. So soft skills are also something that you need to have to be a PM, because PM's main job is to get things done from other people like developers, business analysts, stakeholders, and other people. So from 1.5 to 3 years, I learned to identify teammates' strengths and weaknesses because this helps to assign the tasks accordingly. I check the assignments based on team members and their skills. So if somebody is good at backend task, you need to assign him backend task. If somebody is good at
Abhi,
UX, yeah,
so sorry to interrupt you, but looks
yeah.
like, yeah, we can see only your first slide. Is it fine? Is it okay that we
Uh,
can see first slide only?
which slide you can see? Can you please
First
read it out,
one
please?
with your name.
Really? Like I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the entire deck going on right now.
Sorry, I can see your mouse, but I can can I? So Abhijeet Pawar. It's only first slide.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you're not seeing the slides that I'm changing right now?
Yes, really. It's quite strange because I can see your mouse.
Okay. So like people cannot see that?
Yeah, only first one slide, and this is it. Second, yeah, first one. We can see the one with right and saucer player, soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now what can you see? Like, can you
No,
see
the same,
the
the
side
same.
panel? The same?
Yes, we can see side panel. That's true. Uh, yeah,
And
now it's quite better. Yeah, now
okay.
we can see tech skills. Right.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why that happened. I was in the presentation mode and I presume that like
Maybe because you have two screens. Yeah.
no, I'm having only one screen and I'm using the same screen.
Okay. Sorry for that, guys.
Okay, so I was here. I think I can continue because you have heard, and it's basically the same thing that I have summarized over here. Just to going back, it's like strength of an engineer is like where you contribute as an engineer to your product by analyzing the product's behavior and keeping yourself updated with the general market. And by doing that, you also have to have analytical skills where you observe plenty of things like what's happening in the market, why the sales are going up or sales are going down, and whatever marketing campaigns are happening, what are the effects of that. So I was here on the transitioning into a PM. So before becoming a PM, I became a tech lead as a first step so that I can contribute and discuss directly with the business stakeholders and contribute from the product side on the tech front. So from 1.5 years to 3 years, I focused on studying Salesforce and analytics part only because it helped me to understand the business from near. And I help the business people to make decisions from tech point of view. And I also observe the business growth with respect to the decisions that were made by the business people. And by doing this, I also gained some soft skills. So from 1.5 years to 3 years, I learned that identifying teammates' strengths and weaknesses matters the most because you can accordingly assign the tasks based on their strengths and weaknesses. So if somebody is good at UX and designing, you assign him what is like critical part of the UX and designing front. And if somebody is good at the backend technologies, you assign him something that is related to the backend. And definitely like playing a team role, team spirit, you learn. Then you also need to learn negotiations because plenty of times the product managers and business stakeholders are going to bombard you with plenty of requests and you need to manage them very well. And obviously like you cannot neglect the business, so based on the competitive analysis you need to get things done in time. So that's also something you need to have as soft skills. So from tech lead, I transitioned myself into a technical PM and a mini CEO of a project. That's where I got the entire right to run the Salesforce operations the way I wanted. So before going into the details, you can see like in this diagram, you can see that technology, business, and design is one of like And the combination of that is what a product manager does, or the skills that a product manager needs to have. Engineers belong to the technology part. So the skills that an engineer should gain is he needs to have the design of what the customers like when the product is in the market, whatever is seen by the customer is consumed by the customer. So whatever is happening with the product needs to be known by the engineer if he wants to be a product manager. And secondly, on the business side, like what are the numbers, like what is the sales strategy, what are the competitive analysis and everything, all these business related things needs to be gained as skills by the engineer. So this two direction the engineer has to proceed to become a good and successful product manager, with the advantage of knowing the technology. Are the slides okay now? Just want to reconfirm it again.
Yeah, I can see three bubbles.
Yeah,
Design, technology, business. Yeah,
yes,
that's
those are
okay.
the bubbles that are required for a product manager.
Yeah.
Okay, so from 3 years to 4.5 years, I focused only on one technology because at this point of time, I was having a team of myself, my members, where they were helping me to deal with other technologies. So I focused only on one technology, and that was Salesforce, because it was widely used in the entire company. I created my own identity with global teams from headquarters. So luckily, I was working at the headquarter, and this is one of my experience that if you're working at an headquarter and if you want to create a change, it's pretty much easy as compared to working as a subsidiary company. So if possible, always try to work at a headquarter, and things will move faster from the headquarters. And yes, I focused on the customer feedback as well. Like whatever feedback I used to get from the business side, or whatever feedback I used to get from directly from the customers, I used to observe them very near, and I used to modify the product accordingly. Thus, I became a department tech manager in another year for Salesforce technology. Any questions till now?
Yeah, we have a question. It's second one from Armol about some idea. So
Mhm.
why should I actually work on an idea when I know there are companies out there which have core specializations in something which is close to my work, but are still not directly into it? So why should I actually work on an idea?
And when I know there are companies out there which have core specializations in something which is close. So Anmol, okay. So the thing is, like every product. So just take an example of Zoom that we are using. So Zoom is one product, and we also have another product called WebEx. We also have Hangouts that is used by Google, and plenty of other products that are providing the video conferencing platform. The thing that you should work on your idea has to be decided if that idea is going to be unique, the idea is going to have some or the other factor that is going to support it to boom in the market. So for example, if you're coming up with some similar features without any major backup, then the chances are high that it won't work in the market. This thing happened with me. Like I was coming up with an idea that was something similar to Groupon when I was working at Rakuten, but there was already a company in Japan that was doing the same thing. So even after building the product, we decided not to launch it, and the reason was same, because when you enter the market, there is already a player that has captured your market. So either the market has to be new where the product is not there, and I'm basically like I'm pretty sure you're from India, so I can give you the example of Ola. So when Ola was launched, Uber was pretty famous in the US, but Uber was not having any presence in India. Ola is a very similar concept. Even the app interface at times was exactly the same. Ola is working in India because the market was new, though it was the same concept. So there are a few factors that you need to consider yourself, like if it is going to work or not. And based on the judgment, you should move ahead with the decision to go ahead or stop the product. And you obviously, like, people get connected with the product that they're building, but trust me, those are emotional factors, and the market doesn't run on emotions. You have to be very practical when it comes to the market.
Yeah, and I also was thinking about motivation during this question because It's not only about what to do next, it's and why. It's also about your internal motivation. And actually, second one question from Anmol is what motivates you to build new futures? I mean, it is backed up by data, but what else have you looked towards in this
The
past?
past. Yeah, so basically, Anmol, I can recommend you one. You should Google it. So it's called Kano model. So Kano model is basically like it divides the product into three types of features. The basic features is which, like if you don't have it in your product, then the user is not going to use it. So for example, in Little Master, I provide the content of video and games. So if I'm not going to provide video and games in my product, then kids are not going to watch that and my product is never going to take off. Secondly is like you keep on adding plenty of features. This is the second category, and it is just going to make the person happy or the kids happy. So I keep on adding multiple channels in my product. So English, poetry, mathematics, then numbers and all that. So the more you add, the more your product is going to be strong. And finally, there has to be one unique feature. So this is the third set of features which is different from your competitors that nobody is providing. So based on machine learning and AI, I not only provide the recommendation, but I also record the skills that are studied by a kid. So for example, I also measure hand-eye coordination, his attention span, if it is increasing or decreasing based on the games and videos that he's watching. So this is something that nobody else in the market is providing right now. So I collect all this data and I decide which set of features I need to improve on. So if people are consuming more and more content, if the content that I have prepared is getting finished, then it's a good sign and I need to add more channels to my feature set. If people are checking out analytics more and more, like if the parents are checking out analytics more and more, then I get the understanding that the unique feature that I have launched of providing analytics and soft skill that a kid has gained, I need to work on that. So that's how data motivates me to make my future decisions while building new features. I guess that answers your question. If you have anything else, you can obviously type another question and I'll be happy to answer that too. I
Yes,
guess
thank you. Yeah.
there is another question from
Y-
Resham. Uh,
Yeah.
does one need to be a programmer or software guy in the beginning to become a PM in a product based company or even software based company? Good question, Resham. To answer this, it's not necessary, to be honest. But again, it also depends on the workplace that you're working at. People after MBA in India and even in the US, they start as program managers or else product managers. The skill set that they gain in the MBA is pretty much very different, extensive. So they can use their skill set while designing the product and everything. But if you study well, like there are certifications like CSPO, which is Certified Scrum Product Owner. There are books like Cracking Your PM Interview, which is very famous book for understanding what a PM's job involves and how hiring at Facebook, Google, and other companies is done. So if you read these type of books and start small, or maybe like I don't know, maybe you can apply and give it a shot to big companies. But product manager actually requires good experience to be a product manager because it's not only about technology. You need to understand the market, and I'm pretty sure that based on the university education that we have right now, all these business and soft skills are not focused on while studying in the tech universities. So that becomes a hurdle to become a PM directly in the software industry. I hope
I
that answers.
agree. Yeah, and could I also add something? So I absolutely agree. It doesn't really matter. Are you from technical skills or are you from soft skills? Because you need to have a combination in
Right.
different proportions, let's say. And um, it's not only about technical skills as well, and technical skills, as you see, it could be engineering or IT, programming, coding, designing, what else, testing, anything, administrations like IT help desk or infrastructure. It doesn't matter. You first of all need to think about what do you want.
Right. Right.
Right. as he said, he was a tech lead, so it was his one step forward to something in the future. So it means that you need to think for a future for next few years. Where do you want to be in 5 years, let's say, and what steps you may take to be there if it's helpful.
Right.
Um, you should think about business as well. Because you need
Exactly.
to understand business, you need to have some soft skills, because you need to communicate with people, with team, with different people. So it's all about everything actually.
Right, right, right. And most importantly, Resham, like while working, you will also observe that when a PM demands something from the engineers, it has to be valid. It's not like, you need to understand technology before requesting the engineers. So if you're going through the programming side, it becomes an advantage in the later stage to become a good PM. Yeah. I
Yeah, we
got
have another question. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got another question from Anmol. I mean, how does intuition play a role? How do you convince the stakeholders when you want to follow them? So, I mean, I think that you want to ask, like, how do you convince the stakeholders when they want to follow you? Because this is how your intuition will be playing a role. So, just to answer that, Anmol, as I said, like, data is the most important thing that you should judge on. And based on intuition, I can comment that if you feel that the data is not enough, then you should at least conduct a survey, or you should at least indirectly ask your customers if a particular feature is going to be helpful to them. Create a mock, create a MVP, get the survey done with A/B testing, or by directly interviewing your customers. And based on the feedback, you should make the decisions, because stakeholders, when they're betting their money on the product, they definitely needs to see the result, and you need to come up with a roadmap and projection for each and every feature that has been implemented in the product, or that is to be implemented in the product. So intuition is good to have, but you need to back it with data, and if there is no enough data, then you should definitely conduct interviews and other set of information collection, where you get enough information to back it up. I hope that answers your question. We have another question from Sanchita. What is the difference between product and program manager? So a product manager is a mini CEO of a product, where he decides the features that are going to go in the market. He deals with the what part of the product, like what features are to be implemented, while a program manager is a person who actually deals with multiple teams. It could be like multiple project managers and multiple product teams, combines all the product features that are implemented together, and does the delivery in the market. So the final piece that has to be delivered in the market is the joint responsibility of the program manager and product manager, where the product manager owns the what part and the program manager owns the how part. I hope that answers your question. I guess, oh wow, there are plenty of questions coming up.
Yeah, can we back to another question in chat, not in Q&A? I'm aspiring to be product manager. I have 7 years of experience not leading any team. I am single person in my project team. So sort of SME of that product at data operations. I wanted to know, how can I start my career in PM being software engineering?
Just a moment.
Yeah. It's in chat.
It's in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're talking about Sonam, right? I'm aspiring to be a product manager. I have 7 years
Yeah,
of
right.
experience not leading any team, though. I'm single person in my project from teams, so sort of subject matter expert of that product and data ops. Okay, thanks for the question, Sonam. In this case, I would really like you to focus on the basics. So please Get yourself certified. It could be like certified Scrum product owner. That actually helps you to analyze what a product owner's responsibilities are. And secondly, you should read some books. So cracking a PM interview is one. And you should, I would recommend to strongly to follow one blog. It's by the VP of product. His name is John Egan. He is VP of product at Pinterest. Trust me, he has mapped out entire Pinterest journey. And I was lucky to have him as my one of my lecturers at my university. So he has also noted like plenty of points in transitioning a career to a product manager. So that will be really helpful for you. I hope that answers your question. I wanted to know how can I start my career in being software engineer. Thanks for the question, Sonam. If I'm allowed to finish my presentation, I guess you can get the answers. But there are plenty of questions.
Let's continue the presentation because really we can see a lot of answers during your presentation. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's continue.
Okay. So can you see my presentation, or like, is it okay?
Yeah. Global. Uh-huh.
Global manager
Yeah.
responsibilities. Okay. 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 So moving on to, I guess I was here with the three bubbles. So as I said, like you need to gain the skills about business, and you also need to gain skills about what the customer wants. So moving on to the tech skills, like I focused on Salesforce and focused on customer feedback. And I became a department tech manager in another year for Salesforce. So this was like in 4.5 years. I was actually leading the entire Salesforce strategy for Japan operations. Tech skills to product management skills. So I was allowed to have I was having the freedom to make my own decisions. I decided features that supported businesses. And I always look for things to improve and actually learn from mentors. I also added like supporting products to Salesforce with dependent software such as SAP and others. And while doing this, I also gained some skills such as budgeting, forming new teams, negotiations, etc. So this was like from the tech side, I was indirectly doing product management work by analyzing the market and analyzing the customer feedbacks. And also like I made plenty of good mentors that actually helped me to have this fast paced transition. So as I mentioned, like it was only in 4.5 years, I got this big responsibilities on my head. So definitely having mentors in my life has played a major role. So then from a PM, I actually became a global manager. So I was responsible for managing operations in multiple countries, 17 to be specific. And I was managing budget of 7.8 millions per quarter. I'll gain the skills of global product management, like what's happening in the entire world in different countries, the different demands. And considering the negotiations, I was able to get 65% discount on all the Salesforce product, and it was resulting into millions of savings per year. In this, I also formed global teams. I formed a center of excellence to meet the requirements of all the Salesforce people, that those who were working on the Salesforce platform. And one skill that I gained over here is the data-driven decision making. So that's why whenever I enter into startup, or whenever I recommend any new feature in the product, or even as a program manager, when I get consultation done to other teams where I have to recommend anything, the first thing that I suggest is to check the data. So to summarize, started with small insurance business as an engineer, then focused on Salesforce and become a Salesforce manager for financial services of Rakuten. Then I moved to the e-commerce as well. So expanded my Salesforce management to Japan Salesforce manager, became a Japan Salesforce manager for other services like travel, wedding, then C2C marketplace of Rakuten and everything. And then finally became a global Salesforce manager. So these are some of the things that helped me from a developer to a global manager and global PM for global businesses. This was my transition in short. And considering the strength of a PM, so PM basically is a person who has all the soft skills, but that are hard to achieve. So I have mapped down 10 main points or the 10 main strengths of a product manager. And as I mentioned earlier, the main responsibility of a product manager is to get the results through people. You, as a product manager, has to figure out what part of the product, like what features are to be implemented, what strategies are to be implemented. Everything that is what is your responsibility. But getting the things like with the support of people and deciding the when part and the how part depends on the other team members that you have in your team. And it could be your tech team, it could be your marketing team, it could be your customer service team, it could be all the teams that are supporting the product. So the first quality is team spirit, where you play a team management role. Second is trust. You have to gain the trust of the people. That's why I said, like, if you're a developer, it will be easier for you to gain the trust of the engineering team, which is the core team that builds the product. Third one is the communication. So the communication has to be clear and concise, where you convey the requirements very clearly. You convey the acceptance criteria of a particular feature or a particular product very clearly. Fourth is leadership. You're going to get a lot of requests and a lot of pressure from your stakeholders. You have to manage them very well. You have to manage and represent your team very well. Fifth is prioritization. Definitely, like while moving ahead, you will feel like there are 10 features that you have to do, but within 2 months, you can implement only two. On which two features you should do that. So that's an acumen, and that's also has to come from the data part. And that's how you learn the prioritization, and you need to have that. Sixth one is process building. So process building is one of the important factors while building a product. The reason is without process, the company can go into chaos and even your teams can go into chaos. So instead of creating chaos, focus on building a process or building standards of deliveries where your product is getting built. Seventh is problem solving, where you deal with critical problems and you solve them in time. Eighth is curiosity. Why I have pointed out curiosity is because that will keep you the innovation going on. It will keep the product innovation going on. You always have to strive what can work in the market and what's not going to work in the market. So one main factor I would like to mention over here is like product management is not only about building features. Sometimes you also need to trim down features. So things that are not working in the market, things that are not used by the users, you can take it out from the product. That's going to save the maintenance cost, that's going to save your server cost and everything. So focus on removing some features as well. And ninth one is empathy. You need to understand your customers, you need to understand others as well. And the 10th one, most importantly, you always need to try to improve in the above 9 traits of a product manager. That's it. So these are some of the most important strengths of a product manager and important factors. So few points that will help you to speed up in becoming a product manager. First and most important, get a mentor. So probably one of the current product managers could be your mentor. Just reach out to the product manager or reach out to the product manager of your current product and tell him that you want to be a product manager. I'm pretty sure that he will help you out. If not, find a mentor online. Like I'm also happy to be one of like your mentors in product management. Secondly, work on projects that are to be developed from scratch. You will learn a lot because you will be interacting with the product managers, you will be interacting with the stakeholders, your engineering managers, all the members, if the product is to be developed from the scratch. Third is always prioritize the data. I guess we don't need any further explanation why I'm saying that again and again. Fourth is understand the market and competitors. Fifth is create roadmaps of personal goals as well. So as I forgot the name, but as Sonam, I guess, said that 7 years you are an SME. So map out what you want to be in the next 3 years. It could be a product manager. First of all, figure out if you really want to be a product manager. Figure out the roles and responsibility of a product manager. There could be some better role for you. It could be a program manager that aligns with your work. So please figure out what you want to do and create your roadmap of personal goals. After that, keep on looking for innovative ideas. So there are plenty of things you can work on, and the strength of a software engineer is like you can build a product by yourself. So keep on looking for innovative ideas and try to implement that, and you will realize how difficult it is to come up with new product ideas in the market. And finally, certifications, as I have mentioned, like you can be it will help you to do the switch much faster. So if you are an SME or if you are an engineer, you can switch to a product owner role by doing some certifications, that is CSP or advanced CSP. I guess I'm done with my presentation. So if there are any questions that are not answered in the presentation, I'll be happy to address. So which part should we address first? Should it be the Q&A part?
Yeah, let's continue via Q&A part.
Okay.
Let's start from a little bit out of topic, but can you tell the story on how you can land a product role in Japan? In other words, how do you get a job as a PM in a foreign country?
Okay, so Jordi, to answer your question, Japan is a special country. To be a product manager in Japan, you need to understand the Japanese market, which is very different. And for that, to understand the Japanese market, you need to know Japanese. So exclude the Japanese thing over here. But in Japan, you can be a technical product manager, where you actually figure out the requirements from the product managers and the technical aspects and pass it down to the engineering teams. So that's also one of very interesting roles that is booming in Japan. And this role is very standard in Google, Microsoft, and other companies. Considering other countries, I know that in Amsterdam and in other European countries, there are open product manager roles. And if you are a PM in any other country, you can directly apply to those roles and do your transition. They also support visa and everything pretty easily. So I guess we have some members in Product Star as well, who are working as product managers in other countries, and you can definitely reach them out as well. I hope that answers your question.
It is, it is.
Yep.
Can you guide a little bit about Salesforce, what we can do from this software?
Okay, Santosh, to answer this question, Salesforce is basically a CRM technology. If your business model is B2B2C, which is like something similar to Oyo, where Oyo connects customers and hotels and it becomes the mediator. So in that case, the middle piece of your business can be Salesforce. So you can run marketing campaigns, you can run sales campaigns, you can have analytics of your product behavior and everything inside Salesforce. And you can also manage your customer interaction from Salesforce. On behalf of the hotels or on behalf of the customers, you can also take care of their needs. So that's how Salesforce works as a middle piece between multiple entities, such as the customers and other third-party integrators that you're using. I hope that that answers your question. And it's pretty much booming. I'm pretty sure that if you do Salesforce certifications, it's going to help you in your career if you are in the Salesforce domain right now.
Yeah, and I can add that CRM or Salesforce, it's also all about analytic. So it means that you can go through BI way, let's say, and to be a BI manager, which is quite not bad for business. It's something very basic for business to understand and analyze what's going on in their area and how to predict future changes. So it's all about analytic as well.
Right. That's true.
Want to know how to gain experience in basic tools used by PMs?
So the basic
Just try it.
Anonymous attendee. Okay, so to know how to gain the experience in basic tools used by PMs. So there are certain tools that are used by PMs. Mostly it is about communication with other people. Talking about basic tools that I'm using Jira, which is ticket management system. I'm using Confluence, which is document management, that comes with the Jira part of it. And then we use Slack for communication. So all you can do is you can check for the latest tools and trends in technology that are happening right now, and you can utilize them. And definitely, like you can also use road mapping tools such as Roadmonk or Product Plan that helps you to come up with roadmaps. If you are using Jira, then you can use Jira Portfolio, which also helps you to plan out the schedule part and also the road mapping part. So it's like you play with it, and there are also like these big products also have their online tutorials and online lessons, so you can definitely take a look at them. Okay.
Thank you. What do you think in the future of PM? Is it advisable for a non-CS IT guy to switch to PM?
Thanks, Ram, for the question. Uh, well, considering for the future of PM, it's really not advised, like it is advisable for a non-CSIT guy to switch to PM. I would say yes, because PM role is very less dependent on technology. It's more dependent on the market. So if you understand the market very well, you can definitely become a very good PM. So to be honest, not each and every PM of a tech industry comes from a tech background. Most of them, as I mentioned earlier, come from MBA background or come from business background. And that's how a PM can contribute to the tech industry, even though he doesn't understand tech. So it's not mandatory to have a tech background to become a good PM.
I
But
believe you
yes,
can also.
definitely.
Sorry,
But
continue. Uh-huh.
definitely you need to have the skills of PM. That's for sure. You need to have the good understanding of the market, and that's where like PM can have the requirements passed down to the technical PM, and technical PM can take care of the other parts in the engineering on the engineering side. I hope that answers your question.
It is. Thank you. And I just wanted to add that you can be a person from even marketing. So it really
Right,
doesn't matter
right, right,
because marketing, it's not absolutely not about IT or technical. It's
right.
another, but you can. It's possible. It's not a problem. Um, so is there any online course available for product management?
Online course. Well, I would say that instead of going for an online course, if you're based in India, I don't know I don't know from where you are. If you're based in India, like you can get a CSPO coaching easily for like 17 to 20,000. I can also connect you with like the best companies in India that are providing this type of coaching. Why I'm suggesting it offline is because you actually get to work on a product with a team of 5 to 6 members. So that is going to give you a better understanding how to build a product, and not necessarily a tech product. It can be anything. You can build a washing machine, you can build a drone, you can build anything right in the workshop for 2 days with 20,000, and you can gain like how to do the product management on hands. So instead of going for online course, my recommendation would be for the first thing, go for the offline course. You will learn a lot of things, and then later on you can move to online courses. That would be my recommendation.
We have
I
some
hope that
questions from
in the chat.
productstar.org.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So, what are the general titles of people above 12 years of work X? What are the interview questions for senior people?
Okay. So first of all, going to the title for 12 years, it really doesn't matter. It depends on the company. So if you're a startup and if the company is startup and if you're joining after 12 years of experience, like people will still can call you as a product manager because that's the primary role that is necessary in a startup. Uh, and it really doesn't matter, to be honest, like what type of roles we have. It's all about what type of work you are doing in a role. So to be honest, like even though I'm a senior program manager at my company, I'm actually providing trainings to the product owners because that's the side that I felt can be improved in my company. So it depends on the company culture as well. So in my company, I'm allowed to take responsibility and perform my duties, and that responsibility can be on any side. I can also like check on marketing. If I feel that okay, there is something that I can contribute to the marketing side, I can do that. So it depends on the company culture. So I would recommend that not to focus on the title, but to focus on the responsibilities of a particular role. And type of interview questions after 12 years, again, I would say that it depends on the role that you're applying. If it is for product management, I guess it's going to be based on your experience, based on your past products that you have developed. And if it is on the program management side, then definitely it's going to be about people skill that you have. They may ask you like what type of leadership challenges you have faced. And based on the leadership challenges or the intensity of the problems that you have faced, the demands, or if you're satisfying that in depth or that level of understanding with your problems or with your experience, then you will be getting hired for program managers. So it depends totally on what the needs are, and it depends totally on like what your experiences are. I hope that that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. Another question. For people
Mhm.
who have 12 more years of experience, are there enough roles available in the job market?
I think yes. Well, this is question which is related to innovation as well. So if you see, there's this effect called supernova. So when a company grows big, it generally bursts out into smaller companies, or it just goes out of the business. This happens many times. Uh, so the companies have to keep on innovating. And once the companies are keeping on innovating, there are needs for new people, new mindset of the people to enter the company, and allow the new product managers as well to contribute more and more. So that's how the companies work, that's how the market works. So you may say that the market is tough, but the market is always innovating, and that's how we progress ahead. So definitely there are always demand for product managers in the new market as well. I hope that answers the question as well.
Yes, thank you. Does management helps in service field?
Good question. So it again, I would say that it depends on the company that you're working at. So I'll be very honest. So I know some of the big companies in the Indian market that are representing India at the service level industry. In that, the criteria more than the product is on the billing side, because the billing is done on hourly basis. The billing is done on the number of resources and features that you provide. So in that case, it comes to a negotiation point whether you implement new features or you provide new resources. And most of the time what happens is it runs in a waterfall way, where the requirements come, you take some time where you show the hours investment and you increase the pricing. So that's a different model altogether. But yes, if you're a small company and service based company, you can definitely work closely with your clients and suggest new recommendations and new feature that can work in the market. And like I have done this type of roles in my past as well. So like I was a consultant and also getting a product developed. So all I got was a request from my client was to like to develop a wish list type of a feature, which allows the sharing of wish list, and then among the friends, and friends can gift on birthdays and special occasions based on whatever the items that are entered into wish list. So in this, the entire product came from my side, like how it has to be developed and what features and how the screens are going to be. So yes, I contributed as a product manager, being on the service side of the industry. But definitely it also depends, like my client was pretty much understanding and he appreciated what I was doing and we work it out together. So maybe it depends on the client as well.
Mhm.
But the answer is yes, you can contribute, but depends on multiple factors.
Yeah, absolutely. What makes one stand out of the crowd? What does it take to handle the pressure?
To handle the pressure, I would say that you need to understand like how the product is going to look like after a certain time. So I would say that based on the data that you have collected, come up with a roadmap of features and come up with a plan to execute those. And as I said, product manager has to be a people's person. So definitely like consult with the tech leads, consult with the program managers, consult with other people that are present in your team, and then come up with a plan and pitch it to the stakeholders. That's going to make you stand out, and that's going to help you to be the leader in the product management field as well.
Yeah.
You have to take the people together and move ahead with the data. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Another question. I had the same
Mhm.
situation as you when you were studying engineering. I'd like
Mhm.
to ask about how do I find the right resources and opportunities to be a successful PM. Firstly, my first goal is to land a PM intern
Mhm.
this summer.
Okay. So for PM intern, my first recommendation is to contact the members of Product Star. There are plenty of PMs over here. To be honest, like even I would like to have you as an intern for PM. Like there are plenty of people who would like to give it back, and who would like to like create another people as product managers. you're coming from an engineering background, if you want to land an internship job as a PM, then definitely I would recommend to go through some books, which is, as I mentioned, like landing a PM, like cracking the PM interview is one of those. So go through the book, understand what the responsibilities of a PM are, and then reach out to product managers. Don't go just like, I want to be a PM and could you please help me? Go why you want to be a PM and convince them that you can do that and you would like to learn plenty of new things from the other PMs that are in the company. And I'm pretty sure that you will land up as an intern for PM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, we still have some questions from Q&A tools, so let's
Mhm.
back. What was the most challenging part in your transition to PM?
Okay, so my most challenging part was understanding the market. I'll be very honest. So I'll share an experience. So I have one more startup that is not listed over here. I have a patent for it. It was called Many Venue, and that was my first startup when I came back to India. So the concept was simple. You scan a QR code on a table in a hotel, and you
Mhm.
can add your friends in it, and your friends can order the food even if they are in the office or even if they haven't reached the place. So the shared cart concept was like the first unique shared cart concept that I was bringing in the market. But when I went to the hotels and I realized that people won't use it, and the reason is India has such a huge population, and the cost that was or the salaries that were paid to the captains in the hotel to take the orders and everything was very minimal, like 5,000, which is like $100 or so. So it was not a very major problem that I was solving for them. It was a major problem that I thought that I was solving. The same idea can work in Japan because the market is different. The market is very much different, like where people don't understand Japanese. There are plenty of foreigners staying over here, and I can easily translate the menu into English. I can use the language support. I can use like the Japan has a population problem as well, so it may work over here and it may not work over there. So that's one of the experience that I would like to share. It's like understanding the market is really difficult part, and you cannot understand the market by reading online blogs or getting the service done online. You actually have to go in the market and analyze what's happening in the market, what is actually the need. In that too, you cannot have a very small set of interviewers. So I actually did the interviews with like 15 to 20 hotels, restaurants, I mean, and all of them said that yes, this looks like a very good and promising product. After the implementation, I realized that out of the 100, it will be only like 5 to 7 restaurants that would like to use it. So yeah, definitely analyzing the market is one of the big challenge that I faced in my personal product management journey. I hope that answers.
Yes, it is. Thanks a lot. Last question because we have 1 minute and this
Sure.
is it. So please share those offline coaching centers.
I'll do that. So I'll type it in the chat itself.
Great,
Lean,
great.
yeah. So leanpitch.com. Please check these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They have their centers in Pune. They have their centers in Bangalore, Chennai. I guess they also have in Hyderabad and Delhi. And yes, so these guys are really amazing when it comes to online coaching for CSPO, like online coaching for advanced CSPO and offline and field coaching for CSPO and CSM as well, which is like Certified Scrum Master.
Okay, great. Okay, so I believe we are done. Thanks, Abhi, for your presentations and for all your answers. It was amazing, and all your history is amazing. And thank you for sharing your experience with us. Hope to see you again. I don't know, somewhere in the future.
Thanks a lot, Taisia. It was really great interacting with all the amazing members over here.
Yeah,
And definitely, like, I'll be happy to host another session if there is a need with some other topic. I'll be
that's
happy to
great.
help people. Yeah, and also learn
Okay,
at the same time. Yeah.
thanks a lot to everyone, and have a wonderful weekend or end of the week. And see you next time.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Hi. Bye
Taisia.
bye.